the mental shift that makes saving easy. What if the reason you struggle to save money has very little to do with discipline? Think about it. You get paid. For a moment, you feel financially powerful, then the bills arrive. You buy a few things you've been waiting for, maybe you eat out, replace something you've been putting off, help someone, or simply tell yourself, I've worked hard, I deserve this. And somehow, before the month is over, the money is gone. Then you promise yourself that next month will be different. But what if the problem isn't that you don't know how to save? What if your brain has simply been given the wrong definition of what saving actually is? Most people experience saving as loss. You receive money, and then you deliberately remove some of it from your immediate reach. So psychologically, it feels like you're giving something up. You could buy the phone, you could upgrade your lifestyle, you could enjoy the weekend, you could finally get that thing you've been thinking about. But instead, you're told to put the money away and wait. Of course that feels difficult. Now imagine looking at the same decision differently. Instead of saying, I'm sacrificing this money, you say, I'm using this money to buy something I cannot buy in a store. Options. That's the mental shift. Saving isn't really about refusing to spend, it's about purchasing future choices. Think about someone with no savings. An unexpected repair comes, a family emergency happens, their income is delayed, an opportunity appears, they need to move, they want to invest in something promising. Suddenly, every decision becomes stressful because they have very few options. Now imagine another person with 6 months of living expenses saved. The same emergency happens, they're still annoyed, they're still affected, but they're not trapped. That money didn't just sit there doing nothing. It bought them breathing room, it bought them time, it bought them the ability to say, I have another option. And that's why saving becomes psychologically different when you stop thinking about the money you're not spending today and start thinking about the freedom you're purchasing for tomorrow. There's another reason this matters. People often try to save whatever is left after spending, and that's usually a terrible psychological arrangement because spending has no natural finish line. There will always be another meal, another subscription, another upgrade, another bill, another temptation, another reason to tell yourself it's only a little money. But if you wait until the end of the month to save what's left, you're asking your future to survive on leftovers. Instead, reverse the relationship. When money comes in, give your future a seat at the table before today's desires consume everything. Not because you're trying to become miserable, because you're refusing to make your future self financially invisible. And here's where it gets interesting. Saving is not just about money, it's about identity. Every time you save, you're sending yourself a message. You're saying, I can trust myself with money. You're saying, I don't need to consume everything I earn. You're saying, the person I will become matters to me. And that changes the emotional meaning of saving. You aren't simply accumulating cash, you're building evidence about who you are. And this is why tiny amounts can matter psychologically, even when they don't dramatically change your finances immediately. Imagine earning your salary and automatically moving a small percentage into savings before you have a chance to spend it. At first, the amount may look unimpressive, but something important is happening. You are practicing becoming someone who keeps money. Eventually, the behavior becomes less of a decision and more of a default. And that's important because willpower is unreliable. If you have to make the decision to save every single month, eventually your emotions will negotiate with you. Just this once. I'll save more next month. I've had a difficult month. I deserve something nice. And sometimes you genuinely do. The problem isn't enjoying your money. The problem is when every financial decision is made by your present self while your future self gets no vote. So make saving automatic. Create separation between the money you live on and the money you are protecting. Start with an amount that doesn't make your life collapse. The goal isn't to prove how much you can suffer. The goal is to create a system you can repeat, because consistency beats financial heroics. And there's one more mental shift worth making. Stop asking, how much can I afford to spend? Sometimes ask, what kind of life am I trying to make possible? Those are completely different questions. The first question focuses on today's purchasing power. The second focuses on your future. Maybe you are saving for an emergency fund. Maybe you are building investment capital. Maybe you want the ability to leave a bad job. Maybe you want to help your family without destroying your own finances. Maybe you simply want to reach the end of the month without that familiar feeling of panic. Whatever the goal is, give your savings a purpose. Because money without a purpose is easy to spend. Money attached to a meaningful future becomes much harder to casually sacrifice. And no, this doesn't mean mindset magically solves financial problems. If your income barely covers your basic needs, saving can genuinely be difficult. Inflation is real. Debt is real. Family responsibilities are real. Sometimes the solution isn't simply be more disciplined. Sometimes you need higher income, lower expenses, better financial systems, or a combination of all three. But when you do have money available to save, the way you think about that money can determine whether saving feels like punishment or progress. So the next time you get paid, don't just think about what you can buy. Think about what your money can protect. Think about the problems your future self won't have to panic about. Think about the opportunities you might be able to take because you prepared before you needed the money. Because maybe being financially rich isn't simply having the ability to buy more things. Maybe it's having enough control over your money that one unexpected event doesn't control your entire life. That's the real mindset shift. You're not saving because you hate spending. You are saving because you want choices. You are saving because you want breathing room. You are saving because your future deserves more than whatever happens to be left over. And eventually, saving stops feeling like money you are taking away from your life. It starts feeling like money you are sending ahead to build the life you are trying to reach. Once you see saving that way, you don't have to fight yourself quite so hard. You finally understand what you're actually buying. You're buying options. You're buying time. You're buying peace of mind. And most importantly, you're buying a little more control over the person you are becoming.